components and process of the data warehouse. Actually, it is little theoretical part. Whatever you need to prepare, I have taken everything. Okay, let us go one by one. We have seen this is the data, main components of the data warehouse is nothing but data sources, and the ETL process is the main component, most wanted component for data warehouse, and which converts everything to a platform. Either you can make a report or a query or analysis, anything as you like. Okay, using the business intelligence. So, what is data source? As I have been mentioning many times, it comes from different databases. Let us see what are they. If you see that, mainly this data are taken from operational databases. It interacts with the, we call that as the environment. The data warehouse interact with the environment. What does it mean? What is that environment? It obtained all data from the operational data warehouse. Then it should interact with the environment, which provides the source of data. Then what do you mean by that environment? Actually, to be very frank, it is nothing but the traditionally developed data as day-to-day operation, transactional database, operational database, traditionally developed applications. Okay. So for large, that's what I've given. For large installation or hundreds and thousands of database file systems, redundant data will be there in that those. So in this environment, the data warehouse to interact with obtain the data. That's it. That's all data source. So where it has come from? Different legacy system and file basically, and any organizational or office system. Mainly the data comes from office system, organizational office system, management system, finance system, and if it is an institution, examination, academic. So integrate data of large number of operations. Just take the data, that's all. You will combine all the data, store it somewhere. For an example, if you take from this office system, with just like that, we cannot make it because office people may not know how to store the data. Different file system they might have stored, and we have to extract the data. I'm using the word extract the data. So just like that, you cannot extract the data. We have to use the tools, ETL tools, which really capture the data. Not all the data, what is required for the data warehouse. That is very important. The tool only captures the data which is required for the data warehouse. So what we want? The basic or one among the characteristics of data warehouse or the main characteristics of data warehouse is integration. One by one we see integration. How do you integrate? Nothing. How do you know that how does it integrate? All tools are algorithm behind the tool works for it. I can tell you how it integrates the data. Every multiple dissimilar operation source combined together on the basis of enterprise data model. What do you mean by that? Every enterprise will have a basic data model, as we have seen already that entity model, relationship model, any model they would have adopted already. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Students, am I audible? My voice is not clear or not. Am I clear?
Ma'am, you are audible now.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you are audible.
I'm audible. Okay, then fine then. Shall I continue? If I'm not clear, just tell me. I'll change my. Sometimes it goes off. My voice goes off. Please excuse me for that. Okay. In that case, enterprise data model. First, all the enterprise data model should be studied. Okay. So, what is required? What is the key data item which is uh, required for the data for the particular entire enterprise? That part first you have to identify that. So basic template identifies and defines the organism. Only you can get the key data from the model which is followed by the enterprise already. Otherwise, how do you know that which is the key data for the enterprise? So you have to study the enterprise model. They might have adopted already ER model or relationship model. And also you have to study the relationship between them. And consistency, in the sense, I've already told you what is consistency. Multiple transactions might be executed in the database. That should be understood by the data warehouse architect. So how do you integrate? By using this enterprise data model. What are the things to be done in terms of data naming and definition, encoding structures, and measurement of data? All these things need to be seen. What do you mean by that? Data naming and definition. What does it mean? Encoding structures. What is that? Measurement of data. Naming, different names will be given by different people and different structure may be there. Suppose you are, do you know your, what is that? ID number? Tell me your ID number. One of the students tell you your ID number.
Two zero three 100
No, full ID
18.
number I want. Full ID number? No one knows.
Ma'am, 203 10003.
203
10003.
10003. Actually, does not have anything. I'll tell you. A student enroll number may reflect the year of the admission. Probably your number shows what is the year and which department it belongs to, which department belongs to, and which school it belongs to, and his name and his number. Sorry, register number. Like that, 3 or 4 parts will be there in the ID number. I think you, I don't know how you are getting this. So student enroll number may not be same for all the institutions. Suppose we take the institution of one university. All the institutions which are affiliated to the university, they may not have the same format of student enroll number as they like, as their wish they will have. First, you have to standardize the naming of student enroll number. For example, I'm saying student enroll number. Doesn't mean that for a sales and product also it will be there. Probably product number, part number, like that. It goes on. First, you have to rectify that. Then encoding structure. Encoding structure is that standardizing on gender too. Some of the people may use in the database male or M for male, F for female. That should be standardized. We have to have the same format. Anything you mention in the database should have a same format, uniquely fixed. I should say it should be fixed. Otherwise, accessing of the data will be very different because I may access male, you may access M. So that's not the way to access. Then measurement of variable. In terms of measurement, it should be a metric system or monetary details, whatever it is. Metric system, it should be standard form, or monetary, Indian rupee or dollar or euro, whatever it is. You have to mention is what it is. So the integration should take care of first all. These are all only important things we are talking about, not in detail. Okay. So this is integration. Once the integration is done, we have to look for the subject orientation. Yeah, it is not a day-to-day operation what you are looking for. You are looking for timestamp is there and number of years you have to mention. After once the data is loaded for so many years, you will see the history of the data so that you will come to know what business have gone or what is the relationship, how the students perform or what is the requirement of students need to be done. All those things can be taken from the past history. So, subject, it should be subject oriented. It should not be application oriented. You should understand between the subject oriented and the application oriented. Subject oriented in the sense, you can see the picture application oriented in our university. It's a single institution. We don't have all the institutions together. SAMs. We have the SAMs only for our institution. So it is application oriented. You can see that in SAMs, you have RAMs, SAMs. For admission, examination, results, we have different databases and we combine together. Here, if you take a data warehouse, it's not the admission, the whole process of student. Either it is admission, either it is the requirement, whatever it is, the student is the subject. Examination not only for the course, registration, all this. Sorry. It is not like that. It is the whole program you have to see. Sorry, something has come up. The whole program have to. And the results, not the results. Every regional center, what is the results? So now you could understand what is subject oriented and application oriented. So it's not the structure need to be done for the admission. The structure need to be created or oriented to the objects of the organization according to the subject. It is completely contrast to the operational data. Operational data, daily basis, you will give the information. It's not like that to the data values. Any doubt? Any doubt? If not, third one is time variance, where you should know the time should be given for the data values. Either it is 5 years or 10 years. And it is the third characteristic of data values. Historical in nature. First, I should say that why we need this time variant, because the data is in historical nature. The entire data values should be any point of time if you take, it should be accurate. One for all, it is done for the 5 years. You cannot update again. So, in contrast to the operational data, nothing can be changed over the time of period. Nothing can be changed over a shorter time period. It's once for all, it is updated, that's all. It is date stamp or time stamp, I should say, becomes a historical data. That's all. It becomes a historical data. You can see that operational data is a current value data. Here it is historical data. 60 to 90 days, 3 months, within 3 months, you have, here it is 5 to 10 years or more. The timestamp should be given by you, the data warehouse administrator, as required by the company or the institution. Here data can be updated. Here only snapshot of the record can be updated. You cannot update it.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can you? What is the meaning here? Timestamp. What is the meaning of this timestamp?
Time is done now.
Sorry, ma'am.
What you're asking? Time, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That.
Now,
Hello.
what is your question? Who is talking? Who is posting the question, please? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. I posted in a.
I means who? Who is talking?
I'm Bablu, ma'am.
Bablu, louder please. What you're asking?
Ma'am, what is the meaning of timestamp here?
Timestamp.
Yes,
Timestamp
ma'am.
is nothing but the number of years you want to update the data. Once, suppose I'm giving from this data warehouse, you can take only 5 years data. Less than 5 year data, you cannot access the data. In some data warehouse, 10 years data. Less than 10 years, you cannot access. The whole 10 years data only you can access.
Okay, ma'am.
Understood?
Got it, ma'am. Got it, ma'am. Thank you.
We'll always have a timestamp. You see that? We'll always have a timestamp. Just like that, coming and asking for this query, this information, and this query, that cannot be given to you from a data warehouse. That is given by your database, operational data, day-to-day data. Understood? Now it's metadata directly. Actually, the metadata I already told, very important component of the data warehouse, because it only stores all the data about data. Which format you are using, which schema you are using, which programming language you are using, for the users as well as for the administrator. And also, what I told you, everything is listed. The structure of the content of the data warehouse, what source you have taken the data, what are all the sources you have collected, and what is the process required for the transformation, whether legacy system, how do you summarize. Students, you have to listen carefully. That summarization of data, that has a very important meaning. We'll come back to that later. I'll explain what is the summarization of data. You cannot get the data just like that individually, as you are asking Sundara Mohan or the Malan day-to-day basis. That is not the summarization of data. So data warehouse only give you the summarization of data. Then data extraction is how do we extract the data from different sources. Then how the data needs to be extracted from the data. All these informations are there in the metadata. Or if some people, some manager or some higher authority or the programmer comes, he should know what are all the formalities followed to construct this data warehouse. Otherwise, it's very difficult to continue. Okay? And additional information in the metadata also. Many things are given. They have some additional information. Suppose in a business, they will use different jargon. They'll use different terminology. Those terminology might not be known by the users. So that should be given in the metadata. What does that mean? Because if a report is given, it should identify the information on the report, spreadsheets or queries, whatever it is related to the data concern. They should mention everything. And the database management of this data warehouse should have a dictionary also. They should have a dictionary for if you don't know the meaning of the particular data or terminology used in the business, they should have a dictionary. As we are already having in database management, you do not know. We have data dictionary in our database management system and documentation also. This is very valuable information. Data metadata. Okay, shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
it is data source. Data source first thing gets over. The next one we go for ET. So what we have seen, the data sources, once for a glance I'm doing, that is the data warehouse source is nothing but integration. Integration where you are looking for naming and definition, encoding structures, measurement of variables. And then what subject you need to create a scheme. What is the timestamp you have to give? And we have to go for non-volatile. Now, what is non-volatile? It's static in nature of the data. Once it is updated for 5 years, that's all. You can scan and use it. You cannot update it. That is non-volatile. We say it is non-volatile in the sense static nature. Operation system data updated through transaction processing. That is a different story. We are not discussing that. As I told you, daily transaction can be updated in operation. Everywhere we compare with the operational data because the data warehouse is contradictory to operational data. That's what they wanted to say. And decision support and analysis tools also will be available. That is also available. See, typically they support OLAP and ESS tools will be available. We can access the data warehouse through SQL also. You can make a simple query, reporting, decision support, executive intelligence. These are all the availability to access the data warehouse. Other than that, you cannot make a day-to-day operation query on that. It will have its own protocol actually. Actually, if you see, to be very frank, data warehouse will access the data only through a database inside the data warehouse. And it will have a standard query language protocol. See, SQL is a standard query language protocol they are following. So you have to use the standard query language, not just whatever you like. They will maintain on query like standard query language for the database access retrieval. You should use SQL is the standard query language. And the applications which are there in the database are simple query, reporting, decision support. This comes under the decision support analysis too. Now, knowing this, we'll switch on to extraction and transformation load. You know what? Already I told what is ETL. ETL is nothing but extraction, transformation, and loading. ETL. Very important question. You should no question paper without this. A question paper is there. Very important question. And extraction, transformation, uploading. What is that? That's action. Just see there. Accessing and manipulating the data available in various sources and loading into the target data. What data you require? What is the targeted? All data which is available in the data source is not required for the data warehouse. Why we need so much? Because we will have so many database. Sometimes it may not be, the sources may not have in the form of database also. File system, XML format, Excel format. So what data we require? that only we have to extract and then manipulate for data values. So the manual ETL was complex, and then we have gone to the complex coding or the tool which extracts the data. Apart from this tool also, sometimes manually we are checking that extraction. So what is the first step? We'll see that. First step is nothing but map the structure of the source system to the structure in the target data. Exactly. You should know the structure. First, you have to map the structure. Data warehouse will have a different structure than the structure of other databases which are available in the data source. So you have to map the structure, or you have to extract the data, and accordingly you have to map the data to the data structure available in the data warehouse. And second step is you have to clean up the data using the process transformation. Clean up the data using the process transformation. Very important step. We'll see what is the transformation. Third one, it loads the data into the target system. This we call it as ETL. So, what does it mean? What does this extraction mean? Three-stage process. Actually, extraction process is three-stage process, I should say. That is, extraction phase, we have to identify, and first you have to identify the required data. Identification will take longer time. What you want, that should be identified for the data. That's what it is given. Desired data is identified. And then once it's identified, extracted from the many different sources. That's what I told. Either it may be database or non-database. Then once it is identified and extracted, second is identification of relevant data from the extracted data. You see here, it looks the same. Identification of desired data and the relevant data is different from desired data. The student is the desired data, but relevant data is only is register number, marital status, and register ID number. Other than that, some extra informations are not required. But when we are taking, we'll take the desired data as a student. But the relevant data, what we need. That's what we say. Okay, then size. What is the size of the data? It varies. Okay, kilobytes or 100 gigabytes, depending on the data source and the business system, we have to take. Okay, then even time frame extracted data may vary. That is, data warehouse, data extraction may take a few days, hours to a real time. Data extraction phase is very different. They're very tedious job actually. See, very tedious job. Why I'm saying, we have written a code. The data mining algorithm was used to extract the related document to the medicinal databases. We have written automated data mining algorithm. We have written. After the mining algorithm is done, the job also, we need to do a lot of work by manually checking whether it is done properly. In that, we learnt a lot. But extraction really huge process, and it requires lot of time actually. So this is the first phase. Second phase is data cleaning and data profiling. We need to clean once it is desired data is taken, extracted. You have to look for the relevant data. The relevant data need to be extracted. It will take longer time with the size, with the time, everything. Then we have to switch on to cleaning and data profiling. What is this cleaning and data profiling? Is that second step, that is cleaning requires inconsisting among the data. I have given some example. Uttar Pradesh. Correct the spelling and so this is all. Yeah, of course. What does this means? Because I wanted to tell you properly. That's why I given the Uttar Pradesh. You can notice that Uttar Pradesh is given by UP sometime. UP without any space. Or U dot P is given. Or UTTER. Uttar Pradesh is given. Such kind of inconsistency should not be there. That should be clean. This is done by some algorithm. Variant data. The naming of variant data should be clean using the algorithm. This is for an example I'm giving Uttar Pradesh. Many wordings, terminologies, uses in different states with different names, different things. That need to be clean. It's not an easy job. That has to be done in the second phase. Then take data profiling. Data profiling. Mainly this data cleaning is spelling, complete spelling need to be checked because different people uses the spelling. That you have to note it down. Different spelling they will use in different area. Sometimes Andhra pronounces differently. Different things are there. So you have to take care of those. Then profiling. Profiling is that creating a necessary data and the point of view of data application, data warehouse application. That is what application you are making this data warehouse and what profile you should have. Eliminate it. Main job is eliminate the duplicate data. That's what I wanted to say. Let me not explain in detail because whenever you go through what is the main criteria, I'm going to tell you now. Actually, profiling involves, profiling is necessary data from the data to a great extent. That's all. The necessary data, eliminate the duplicate data. That it does the job. For an example, if you take address, my address in one department will be different and my address will be other department will be different. I would have given my permanent address in one place. I would have given my official address in other place. Sometimes I use apartment number. Sometimes I never use the apartment number. I tell only the street. All inconsistent or too many data are duplicated in different places need to be eradicated. That is data profile. Okay, so the ETL process starts from first one is extraction and then data cleaning and then data profiling. Finally, it comes to very time consuming task. Actually, to be very frank, this is very difficult. That is transformation, data transformation. Once it's transformed, it has to be loaded. What does it mean? Very timing. That's why I've written on the slide itself. Transformation and loading, also followed by the extraction, uses different kinds of work. That the quality of the data. Finally, you should know the difference between the desired data, relevant data, necessary data, duplicate data, and then we come to ensure the quality of the data. Transformation is only quality of. You can ask me one question. What, madam, you are saying desired data, relevant data, and all takes the same meaning? No, 100% no. That's what. Slight difference will be there. You should understand what is that. Transformation is nothing but it is the quality of the data, how we make the data to be loaded into the data warehouse. That is the last one. We are using some filters and data validation. checking duplication, aggregation, all those things are done to transform the data. These are followed by the transformation according to the requirement of data values. Some of the transformations are given here. You can see that filter, joiner, aggregator, sorting. All these things are transformation tools which does the job of each one. And finally, after doing this transformation, we load the data to the data values. Filter. If you take filter, the rows in mapping that do not meet specific condition. Suppose you want only the list of employee of a sales department who made the sales about 50,000. Other than that, related to his own, the man who is having made anything, we don't take it for granted. We will not take the data. We filter the data what is required by the data values. And joiner, we may join from different tables as we are doing in the relational database. If you want more information, we can join the tables from different table to one different location or two different sources, XML or Excel sheet. The joiner will be doing this job. Aggregator, calculating, aggregate calculation and extract the data, summation or average or count, all this comes under this one. Sorting, creating an order in which the required data need to be. All these things are done properly after transformation. It requires creation, execution of the program. That particular program does the job of loading the data into the data values. Very important. Only when it is checked properly the quality of the data, and then only it will be loaded to the data. Key concern here is propagate updates, maintenance and materialize. Very important concept, that is you have to maintain, maintain and materialize, because once for all it will be done, it will not be updated further. So all the data are propagated, updates are maintained. Once it is done, it will not be taken for any consideration to edit further. That's all. What is given? ETL is performed in night or at such times when load and operation system is low. Extraction, transformation, loading is done in the night because without interruption it will be done. That is the criteria. Finally, they will check one thing actually. What is that? That is, they will ensure whether the data which is the quality transformed is completely synchronizing with the operational data. That is very important point. If you after transforming, if you don't see the synchronization with the operational data, what data is taken from the operational data, and what is the point in taking data? All those things need to be seen to load the data into data warehouse. Okay, any doubt you can stop me here, then we'll go to the architecture. Students, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts? These are all very theoretical. I'm just telling you what you have to prepare. You should know what is that. When you study, you will come to know. Any doubt? Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then what is the architecture? whatever we have seen so far is the architecture actually. Business analysis framework or design and architecture. Straight away, I'll tell you what is the architecture. You should be in a position to access the data in any dimension. In such a way, the architecture should be designed, or I can say the framework of the data warehouse should be in a way to understand and analyze the business data, or to analyze the data to give the review. Because the layperson may see in different view, the manager may see a different look the query at ask the query in different perception, and the higher authority may differently see the data. The query may differ. So the architecture should be in a way it should be designed top down. Overall design and planning, you know what do you mean by allow selection of relevant information needed for data warehouse. The design should be in such a way, top-down design and data sources. You know what I told you already. The data warehouse. Here we need to explain what is fact tables and dimension tables. Fact table is metric. Dimension tables are attributes. I'll tell you what is that in future. Represent the information stored in the data warehouse. Actually, instead of having attributes, instead of having measurements, we'll say dimension tables and we'll separate the measurements as the fact tables. Business query, view of the data from the viewpoint of the. So all should be accommodated in the planning and designing of the architecture. There are 3-tier architecture. Bottom tier, middle tier, and top tier. Few people don't know what is that. Actually, MSc students knew that because database management itself implemented it, the 3-tier architecture. Completely physical layer is only for memory and the internal memory, and what is the data structure need to store the data. That is first tier. Second tier is what is the concept about the data and how the relationship among the data, that is concept level, second level. Third tier is nothing but the user level, that is how the user can interact with the data. 3-tier architecture of database. Same way we have 3-tier architecture. Bottom tier, that is data warehouse server. We should have a server to have the data, relational database system, and the tool should perform whatever we have seen so far. That is the bottom tier. In the sense, whatever we have seen ETL, everything should be programmed well, and the algorithm should be written properly to do that. ETL, and then we should have a relational store it in the relational database system. And the middle tier should implementation stage. Analysis. The server should analyze the data taken from the bottom tier. And you are seeing that ROLAP, rotational ROLAP. They are going to see that architecture, relational OLT, maps the operation, multi-dimensional data. You should see the data in multi-dimensional. How the multi-dimensional view or access the data, we'll see. That is multi-dimensional OLT model directly implements the data. Actually, this middle data does the job of getting the data from the bottom tier and analyze it properly and given to the top tier. That is front client layer, where you people are. That is users. Holds the query tools and reporting tools, analysis tools, and data mining tools. What does it mean? You are making a query, or you are writing a SQL, or you are making a data mining tool. Whatever the query you are making, according to the query, the middle tier should analyze the data. what direction or what analysis has to be done, in which dimension you ask. Everything needs to be implemented by the middle tier, where it can take the data to implement that. That data will be available in the bottom tier, that is relational database management system. That's what 3-tier architecture of data warehouse. We have data warehouse models also. See, according to the same architecture, as we had data models, we have data warehouse models also. We have virtual data warehouse, data mart, enterprise data warehouse. Different models are available according to the requirement of a corporate or company. You can choose the model. Data mart is very simple model, very small model. Enterprise model is according to the only for the enterprise. Virtual data warehouse is also available. So, virtual data warehouse is little expensive and requires some excess capacity over the operational data warehouse because there is no server for virtual database. Only the software will be used to show the data available in the permanent server. That's why we take some expense. It is expensive, or we have to use the operational data warehouse. Okay, we'll take this one, data mart entire and the load manager, in the next class. Anything you want to ask? The next class after taking this, we'll see that the dimensional, it may be different. It's not so clear. Anything you want to ask me? If no question, shall I sign off?
Ma'am, is there any news like for
Bablo,
the
little louder, Bablo.
ma'am, is there any news for the reopening? Because Pondicherry government has allowed to open the university now.
You are not allowed. PC is not opening the mouth. I think after admission, they may announce something. They wanted to do the admission. Till then, they may not open mouth. They are not opening the mouth. Day before yesterday, we had a meeting also. There he is not opening his mouth. They are not allowing PhD scholars also. Less in number. He is not allowing PhD scholar. He is asking 2 doses. Some of the students are asking, already taken 2 doses. They are not allowing. Let us see. I do not know how I can answer this question without. Yeah. Because probably you should understand central government is different from state government. State government people will go around inside the Pondicherry town. But central government people come from different states. Kerala people are coming. And Maharashtra people are coming. How he knows the pain of corona. How a responsible higher authority will say yes for it. It will take little time. Okay? I will let you know when I come to know. Anything else?
Ma'am. Ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
1 second. Any question? Shall I sign off?
Ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am.
Tell me, what is your question?
Ma'am, regarding the project, is there any news regarding the project work
Yeah, we discussed. We are going to allot the students.
Yes, ma'am.
Next meeting, they'll be doing it. We discussed already. Anything else?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Shall I sign off?